What's up? This is Devin, and this is another CRP Minute, product of the Cage Rage podcast. If you have not liked or subscribed to our YouTube or our Facebook page, please go and do so. With this, I'm going to be bringing this week's CRP Prospect of the Week pick, and it's going to be a female fighting out of the women's strawweight division, and her name is Tatiana Suarez. She's fighting on the prelims this weekend of the big UFC 238 card in Chicago, Illinois. And this is probably going to be somewhat of a number one contender fight for this strawweight division. Tatiana Suarez is a woman that's coming up and undefeated, highly touted wrestler, and is kind of the Khabib of women right now. And she's probably one of the more intimidating women in the sport at the moment, and there's not a very long line of people that really want to fight her. She's very talented, very heavy wrestler, great top game, big power, and she's coming into this fight riding a very good streak after winning the Ultimate Fighter season 23, the season that Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha coached. And since then, she's won 3 more fights, including wins over the likes of Alexa Grasso, and just absolutely dominated even another good wrestler like Carla Esparza, who had no answer and was unable to stop her game plan at any moment in the fight. She's been nothing short of just completely dominant, and she's got quite the story behind her as well. And now with this division being shaken up recently, with Jessica Andrade becoming the new champion after her devastating highlight reel slam KO over now former champion Rose Namajunas, we could definitely see Tatiana being brought in to a title contender after this fight against Andrade later on this year, especially with an impressive win. But when we look at her background, and this is just straight off of Wikipedia, it'll tell you a little bit about her story. It says that Suarez has Mexican ancestry. She started wrestling before her 4th birthday, as all of her older brothers wrestled, and she insisted her mother to let her wrestle too. She graduated from Northview High School in California. She is a 2-time bronze medalist in the World Championships of Freestyle Wrestling. In 2011, she was ranked number 1 freestyle in the USA at 55 kilograms or 121 pounds. While training for the 2012 Summer Olympics in London, Suarez suffered a neck injury, which would derail her Olympic aspirations. An MRI and CAT scan not only revealed a bothersome disc in her neck, but a cancerous growth on her thyroid. Suarez underwent radiation therapy and had her thyroid and several lymph nodes removed. After successful treatment, her thyroid cancer was gone, and she eventually began to train again. Suarez started practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which led her to discovering mixed martial arts. So, as you see there, she's got quite a story behind her as well. She's a cancer survivor, and it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise that she injured her neck, because during the CAT scan, that's when they found out the issues and had lymph nodes and thyroid removed. And so she's been through a lot. She's got a great story, but at one point she was the number 1 women's wrestler in the country at 121 pounds, and now she's a top contender at a 115 pound division inside the UFC. And she was actually my pick at the beginning of the year when I did my first podcast with Chad. We talked about who I thought would be the champions in each division at the end of 2019, and I picked Tatiana Suarez to be the champion at 115 pounds. So she's somebody that people have had their eye on for a little while, and this is a big test going against Nina Ansaroff, who's on a good roll. She's Amanda Nunes's girlfriend, so she's gonna be going against a formidable opponent. But she's just been so dominant, and there's really no reason to pick against her. When we look at her resume and we look at her record right now, coming into today, she's still very young in the sport. She was an undefeated amateur, and she's undefeated as a pro, but she is only 7-0. And as it says, she's 5'5", 66-inch reach. She was born in Covina, California. She's fighting out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Has a very strong wrestling background, as I mentioned. And as I showed, she won the Ultimate Fighter finale, submitting Amanda Cooper with a Darce choke in round 1. Went on to beat Viviana Pereira, Alexa Grasso, and Carla Esparza. Now gets a number 1 contender bout with Nina Ansaroff. When we look at the rankings, she's ranked number 2 currently in the division, behind the champion Andrade, the number 1 contender, former champion Rose Namajunas, who we don't really know what's going on with her because she signaled that she doesn't know if she wants to even fight. We don't really know where she's at mentally. And then below her is Nina and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. We don't really know what's going on with Joanna. I think Joanna could get that fight with Andrade, considering that she just beat her a couple years ago and the name value. But it seems like the UFC is wanting to pivot a little bit more toward a new contender. So I think that this is a big opportunity for Tatiana. I think that she is probably, out of all the people on this card, I did a CRP prospect of the week pick at one point on Petr Yan, who's also fighting on this card. But if I hadn't have done that, I would have still picked Tatiana, because I'm very confident that she will likely be the champion of this division, just based off what I've seen. As I've said, the best way I could describe her is a female Khabib. Keep your eye on Tatiana Suarez if you want any reason to watch the prelims, which will probably be on ESPN Network. I'll be honest, I haven't checked. But I think that she is somebody to definitely keep your eye on. Tatiana Suarez, CRP Prospect of the Week pick, fighting this weekend on the prelims of UFC 238 in Chicago, Illinois, headlined by a big bantamweight title fight between Marlon Moraes and Henry Cejudo. A co-feature, which is a women's flyweight title fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Ai. Big fight between Tony El Kukui Ferguson versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Other big bantamweight fights. This fight, great card. Stay tuned to the CRP. We'll cover more of it.